I know, that's sort of how the Walking Dead theme goes, right? Anyway, if Daryl dies, we riot, because he, like me, is pure, unadulterated badass. Anyway, I need to put up a giant spoiler warning right here. If you have not seen seasons 1 through 5 of The Walking Dead, click away from this video and go view my other content as either me, Prince Vegeta, the Prince of all Sayins, or the normal guy who normally does this. And maybe check out his Vine compilation because he has a Vine. Shameless plug. Anyway, without further ado, if you are caught up on The Walking Dead, here is The Walking Dead in one take, in 7 minutes, Season 5. Let's get into it.
Hi, we're the Fine Brothers.
And consider yourselves warned.
Duck for cover because walkers are coming.
We're going to be spoiling everything from the 5th season of The Walking Dead.
If you know nothing about the show or want a full refresher, you can watch our first Walking Dead recap here, then come on back to this video to get the continuation.
You'll be all caught up for the Season 6 premiere on October 11th after watching this recap in one take in under 7 minutes.
Starting now.
We left off with Rick, Daryl, and Michonne captured and put into a railroad car with Glenn and Maggie's group.
Meanwhile, Carol and Tyrese,
who led a group of survivors that included his sister Sasha before joining Rick last season,
learned the rest of their group is being held captive.
Carol, who went from Season 1 timid lady to Season 5 warrior woman, causes an explosion.
She saves Rick and the others from being eaten, but not before more zombie killing.
Garrett, the leader of Terminus, leads his men out, and Rick's group reunites with Carol, Tyrese, and baby Judith.
The group keeps moving.
Abraham intends to bring Dr. Porter to Washington, D.C., where he says he can cure the Walker virus.
Rick then covers up the once promising Terminus sign and labels it No Sanctuary.
After they leave, a mysterious figure discovers the sign.
He takes off his mask, revealing that he's Morgan Jones, who we last saw in Season 3 having a mental breakdown over the loss of his son. Mind blown!
Back with the group, they run into Father Gabriel Stokes, who Rick distrusts after he claims to have never killed any walkers or people, but they stay at his church for shelter anyway.
As for Carol, she decides to leave the group, but Daryl follows her.
A car speeds past the two, and Daryl notices that it has the same white cross painted on the window as the one that took Beth last season, so they follow it.
And yes, we know we should have mentioned Beth in our last recap.
Quick intro! She is Maggie's little sister who split off with Daryl after the prison collapsed and was kidnapped.
Back outside the church, Bob,
a survivor who joined Rick's group last season,
is captured by Garrett's group.
Bob realizes his leg's been amputated.
It's being eaten by Garrett's group. Shish kebab?
Bob laughs and reveals that he's been bitten and they're eating tainted meat.
At the church, Father Gabriel reveals that he locked many out and left them to die.
He believes Rick's group were sent to punish him.
Garrett's group drops off Bob at the church.
They start opening fire as they get Bob to safety.
Bob reveals he was bitten and tries to explain to the group where Garrett's hideout is located.
Abraham wants to leave with Dr. Porter immediately, but Rick wants revenge against Garrett's group.
Glenn diffuses the situation by agreeing to assist Abraham's group and leaving alongside Maggie and Tara.
Tara used to be a member of the governor's militia who ditched him to join Rick's group last season.
If Abraham will help them find Garrett's hideout first.
Garrett's group arrives to their church, but Rick's group ambushes them. They just got Rickrolled!
Rick and the rest of them slaughter him and his group.
R.I.P. Garrett and the cannibals.
The group pays the dying Bob their respects, and Tyrese stabs him in the head.
This devastates Sasha, who had begun a relationship with him.
R.I.P. Bob.
Rick's group parts ways with Abraham's, who leaves a map for Rick depicting the route they're taking for Washington.
Okay, so what the hell's been going on with Beth?
Well, she wakes up in a hospital.
She's forced to be a nurse under Officer Dawn Lerner.
Dawn is in charge of the other officers there, some of which physically abuse Beth, but Dawn doesn't seem to care.
Beth meets Noah, a laundry worker.
He hopes to escape to his wall community in Virginia.
Everybody
They then
Chris.
plan an escape, but an officer named Gorman begins groping Beth.
But she smashes his head with a glass jar like a badass!
He is then eaten by a recently zombified patient.
R.I.P. Officer Gorman.
They try to get out, but not before more zombie killing!
Beth gets captured while Noah gets away.
As for the journey by Abraham's group, it hits a snag when Dr. Porter reveals that he isn't a scientist.
Turns out he lied because he didn't want to get abandoned, and Abraham ain't too happy about that and knocks out the false doctor.
Back at the hospital, Beth scolds Dawn for her weak leadership.
But before anything can get too far, she sees an unconscious Carol wheeled in on a stretcher.
How did she get there?
But we find out Daryl and Carol ran into Noah, who reveals that he knows Beth.
They decide to free her, but Carol is hit by a police car and sent to the same hospital where Beth is.
Noah and Daryl head back towards the church to get the group's help.
Some head off to rescue Beth and Carol, while Father Gabriel secretly flees the church.
Close to the hospital, the group captures 3 police officers, and Rick kills one who tries to get away, which forces the remaining officers to lie about it.
As for Father Gabriel, he finds the old camp used by Garrett's men, and walkers begin following him.
So he decides to run right back to the church.
Gabriel!
Accidentally luring walkers to your safe house was a bad decision.
On to some more zombie killing! The walkers overwhelm Gabriel, Michonne, and Carl, who escapes the church.
Back at the hospital, Beth takes a pair of scissors and hides it in her cast.
Rick's group arrives and makes a deal with Dawn, the officers for the recovering Carol and Beth.
The deal is about to get done when Beth gets in Dawn's face, remembering all the pain she had caused her, and stabs her with the scissors.
Dawn instinctively shoots Beth dead, and in turn, an angry Daryl immediately kills Dawn.
R.I.P. Beth and Dawn.
The group leaves, and Maggie breaks down after seeing Daryl carrying her sister Beth's body.
God, this show is depressing.
Over with Morgan, he explores Father Gabriel's church, finding the map Abraham left for Rick.
Rick, Tyrese, Glenn, and Michonne take Noah back to his hometown, which turns out to be a bad decision.
When they get there, it turns out that there are walkers everywhere and no survivors.
It only gets worse when Tyrese gets bitten in the arm by a walker.
They regroup with the others and decide that Washington, D.C. is the best bet for survivors.
Michonne and Abby take Tyrese's arm, but it's too late, and Tyrese dies during their ride out of town.
R.I.P. Tyrese.
Rick tells the group they have to
He
deal with
died
reality
like a
and tell
badass
themselves
in
they
the
are the
comics,
Walking
but not
Dead.
It only took them 5 seasons to finally say that.
The next morning, Maggie and Sasha are approached by a man named Aaron.
He tells the group he is from Alexandria's safe zone, trying to convince them to join him there.
Rick's answer? Knocking Aaron unconscious.
It's hard to trust people in The Walking Dead.
However, after realizing that Alexandria may be the group's safest option, Michonne pressures Rick to go there.
We know what happened like every time they chose to go to a safe zone, so why would he agree to go?
Rick does eventually agree, and the remaining members meet up with the rest of the group who've rescued Aaron's partner, Eric.
They make it to Alexandria and meet Deanna, the leader of the safe zone, who allows them to stay.
Wait, wasn't she a man in the comics?
Anyway, Rick shaves his beard and gets a haircut for potential love interest Jesse.
As a sign of trust, Deanna gives Rick and Michonne roles as constables of Alexandria. Carl makes friends with a girl, and everyone seems to be getting along pretty well.
Things are finally going well!
Except the people of Alexandria may have a self-protection issue, which Rick brings up with Carol and Daryl, saying if the residents can't protect themselves, there's gonna be a Rick-tatorship!
They later kill a walker with a mysterious W carved into its forehead, but what could it be?
That evening, Deanna holds a party for Rick's group at her house where Rick is introduced to Deanna's husband Reg and Jesse's a-hole husband Pete.
Things start getting sour after a part of the group starts heading back from a supply run at a warehouse.
An explosion renders Tara unconscious and Noah gets trapped and is ripped apart by walkers right in front of Glenn.
R.I.P. Noah!
Meanwhile, Father Gabriel, who joined the group in Alexandria, tries to convince Deanna that Rick's group will destroy what she's built. Gabriel!
Later on, Daryl, along with Aaron, come across the corpse of a woman and see a W carved into her forehead. What are these W's?
Back at Alexandria, Rick finds out Pete is an abusive husband, and Deanna reveals that she knows, but since he's the town surgeon, has to keep him around.
Rick then finds Jesse and promises her that he can protect her just as Pete walks in.
It's Rick versus Pete!
Rick holds down Pete and draws a crowd, but before he can do anything, Michonne knocks him out.
What about Morgan?
Well, he gets ambushed by 2 members of the Wolves.
They are a group of scavengers who conform to the ancient belief that men evolved from wolves, and it was them that carved the W in that walker's forehead.
Morgan whoops them and leaves them unconscious. Morgan is a no-nonsense, maybe still a little crazy badass.
Back to Alexandria, where Rick's outburst has caused him to possibly be exiled.
Father Gabriel loses faith and attempts to commit suicide by offering himself to a walker.
But he changes his mind and kills a walker for the first time, which causes him to cry. A character growth moment?
Nope, because he returns and like an idiot, leaves the town gate open. Gabriel!
Meanwhile, Daryl and Aaron follow a man in a red poncho they are interested in recruiting for the community.
But they walk into a trap by the wolves and Aaron's backpack gets lost in a scuffle.
Who comes to the rescue? Morgan!
Finally, converging subplots!
They decide to recruit him after finding out he knows Rick.
The wolves end up finding Aaron's backpack, which contains photos of Alexandria.
As for Rick, he sees the unlocked gate and closes it, attempting to contain the walkers that have gotten inside.
Deanna holds a meeting over Rick's possible exile.
Rick enters carrying a walker's corpse to the meeting as proof they need to learn how to truly survive.
Drunken Pete arrives with Michonne's katana.
He threatens to kill Rick.
Time for round 2 of Rick versus Pete.
Which turns out to be sloppy as Pete accidentally slits Reg's throat and Rick kills Pete right as Morgan comes in.
R.I.P. Pete and Reg.
In the end, the man in the red poncho, who's now a walker, walks by a car in the yard with a spray painted with the words, "Wolves not far."
And now you're ready for the new season of The Walking Dead.
Will the wolves invade Alexandria?
Is third time's the charm with Morgan and Rick?
Will Daryl ever take a shower?
Will you be watching the new series of The Walking Dead? We know we'll be!
Iron Prize!
Yes. Anyway, I quite enjoy that program, The Walking Dead. I like to think some of the planets I left in ruin are kinda like that. And they have some interesting fellows that I might need to recruit into my princely order, if you will. Now, I agree with Rick. Domestic violence is never the answer. In fact, that asshole Beerus, they didn't have him smack around a woman in the show, which I guess makes me like Beerus a little more. That, and he's my teacher, so I have to deal with him. Anyway, if you liked my reaction to the entirety of Season 5 of The Walking Dead in one take in 7 minutes, please leave this thing and a comment down below. If there is a character other than me, Vegeta, that you want to see react to a video, leave that down in the comment section as well. I look forward to seeing what you have to say about this. Now, in of admiration I guess this guy has for the talented Curtis Arnott, i.e. Takahata 101 of Team 4-Star, we're going to end this on a last blast on 3, team. Alright, team, on 3. 1, 2, 3, last blood!